morning, everyone. I am Mr. Jose Jerome C. Mendoza, and I will be your teacher for today's topic in Media and Information Literacy. Our third topic for this subject is all about information literacy. From the first lesson, information was defined as processed data, knowledge derived from study, or instructions through signals and symbols. It was further elaborated on the second topic, where we studied the evolution of media and how we ended up in the information age. Now, in this lesson, we will discuss and explain the skills needed to be an information literate individual. We will also discuss the stages and the elements for information literacy and also the ethical use of information. Before we start, let us first define what actually is information literacy. Well, information literacy is a set of individual competencies needed to identify, evaluate, and use information in the most ethical, efficient, and effective way across all domains, occupations, and professions. Acquiring information has never been as easy as it is today. Before, people would spend a lot of time doing research. Today, information is just at the tip of our fingertips. We just click a button, we connect to the internet, and all the information will be presented to us. Now, technology advancement has definitely led us to an overwhelming amount of information. It also gave us the ease of access in getting these information. We can access information through mobile phones, through the internet, and through our laptops. However, with all this available information, it leads to the issue of credibility. We won't know which information is credible, which information is accurate, which information is true, and which information is false. We can never easily tell if the information we have is really credible. So, information literacy aims to solve this issue. Now, there are 4 skills necessary to be an information literate individual or to become an information literate individual. First is to be able to recognize when information is needed. Second is to have the ability to locate and access the said information. Third is being able to evaluate and assess the said information. And lastly, the ability to use the needed information effectively. Now, I have those skills right here. I'll have them flashed on the PowerPoint presentation. But to further understand these skills, we've subdivided them, or they are subdivided into stages or elements. We actually have 7. So the first one is identifying and organizing information needs. This simply pertains to an individual's ability to know what information is needed. This is to achieve a specific and define limits to the actual information that is actually needed. The second is determining the source of information. Now, this element would fall under the second skill, which is the ability to locate and access, and should answer the question, where will you get the information? Third is citing or searching for information. Now, for citing, we'll talk more about this on the latter part of the topic. But for the number 3, this should answer the question, how will you answer or how will you access the information? Number 4 is analyzing and evaluating the quality of information. This next part is very critical in being an information literate individual. To be information literate, you should be able to evaluate if the information you have is valid and credible. You can do so by making sure that the source was written by trustworthy authors and institutions. Okay, we move on to number 5, which is organizing, storing, or archiving of information. Well, archiving and organizing of information is also important. Storing and archiving is just making sure that the available information that you have can be accessed anytime and can be used for future reference. Number 6 is using information in an ethical efficient, and effective way. Now, once you have all the information that you need, an information literate individual should also learn how to use that information properly. It should be delivered using the best medium to be effective and efficient. It must also be used with ethics and, of course, with respect to others. Number 7 is creating and communicating new knowledge. This involves an individual's ability to use various methods in communicating information. Some of the examples would be writing reports, writing emails, the use of social media, the use of datographics, and the likes. Let's take a look at the following scenario as an example. You are a graduating senior high school student and is worried about what course to take in college. What information do you need to get? For this, we consider that you have already decided on which school you'll be entering for college. Let's say, for example, you'll be going to MSc. Now, we could start to identify and recognize the information that we need by asking the following question. Number 1 is, what information do you need? Of course, I need to know the available courses offered by MSc first. This is so I could match my skills and knowledge to the best course possible. The next step is to determine the source of information. Where can I get the most accurate answer? So for this, we ask the question, where will I get the information? The obvious and most accurate place that would give you the correct information is, of course, by going to the MSc website, or you go where the actual school is located. Third is to determine how will you access the information. You can access this by logging in to the MSc website or by going to ask information either on the guidance office, the registrar's office, or someone familiar with the course offerings. The next question you should answer is, how will I check the quality of my information? You could do this by verifying if you've accessed the correct MSc website. Now, if you went to the school and asked for information, you could ask multiple people to validate the information you've gathered. Now, having completed the information gathering, you now need to organize and store your information. For these kinds of data, it is best that you save them on your phone where you could easily access them. It is also advisable that you save a backup copy either to your email or cloud storage. Lastly, how would you communicate the information you've gathered? You can do this by writing an inquiry letter addressed to the MSc's guidance office so they could check if you would be a valid candidate for the course you chose. Now, having answered all these questions would give you a very good chance of making the correct decision, not only on our example, but also in real life. Now, we move on to our next topic, which is the ethical use of information. Now, to be an information literate individual, not only do you have to have the skills needed to be information literate, you should be able to know how to use it, and to use it with ethics and to use it properly. So, for this, we have the 4 methods of how we could use information with ethics. First is to give credit to where credit is due. Now, there are times when you need to share various information you've acquired from sources written by different authors. It is important to quote their exact words to preserve the actual meaning, and it is also imperative that you give credit to the original author so as to not give the impression that you're claiming the words they've actually said. You need to show the reader which part of your text is your own thinking and which of those texts were you paraphrasing or using someone else's ideas. Now, failing to recognize them or claiming other works is not just unethical, it can also mean legal repercussions like plagiarism. Now, for those of you who is not familiar, plagiarism is a wrongful appropriation and stealing and publication of another author's language, thoughts, ideas, or expressions, and the representation of them as one's original work. Now, the second one would be to practice due diligence. Now, practice due diligence. Whenever people come across information, they must validate its authenticity. It is important to find out if the sources of information is credible and if it is based on facts and research. Practicing due diligence before accepting information is necessary, of course, to filter out false and misleading data. The third is respect everyone's privacy. There's a fine line between information that can be shared and personal information that needs to be kept. So any information about someone else should not be published without their consent. Okay, number 4, separate facts from opinion. Everyone that has access to the internet can of course contribute to the web of information. It is critical that we identify which information is true, which are from personal beliefs and opinions of other individuals from the internet claiming that they're right without proper research. So, just to sum up, to be able to tell yourself that you are an information literate individual, you have to have the 4 skills, and you must have the proper ethics on how to use the information that you've acquired. That's it for today's lesson, and I hope you've learned something new. And let us continue to thread the road to being an information literate individual. Again, my name is Mr. Jose Jerome C. Mendoza, and thank you again for watching till the end of the video. Goodbye.